In the grand tapestry of ancient chronicles, where threads of destiny are interwoven with human frailty and divine providence, there unfolds a story of dramatic descent and breathtaking ascent. Not a tale of sudden conquest, but of character forged in the crucible of betrayal and the darkness of undeserved suffering. We journey to the land of the Nile, to an era of pharaohs and dreams, to witness the astonishing saga of Joseph, from prison to palace. This was not a journey of ambition, but of faithfulness amidst abandonment. Joseph, a youth favored by his father Jacob, endowed with prophetic dreams that hinted at future eminence, first found himself not on a path to glory, but cast into a pit by his own flesh and blood. The vibrant coat, a symbol of paternal love, became a shroud of jealousy, leading him from the plains of Canaan into the chains of slavery in Egypt. The pit was but the first station in a descent that would test the very fiber of his being, a foreshadowing of the isolation and darkness yet to come. Sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, Joseph's innate integrity and God-given wisdom soon shone through. He found favor, rising to oversee his master's household. Here in a foreign land, amidst strange gods and customs, Joseph remained steadfast, his moral compass unwavering. But this period of relative stability was a deceptive calm before another storm. Falsely accused by Potiphar's wife, whose advances he honorably spurned, Joseph was thrust from a position of trust into the cold, damp confines of the royal prison. Innocence offered no shield against the machinations of scorned desire. The prison was a place of shadows, not just of stone and iron, but of forgotten hopes and fading spirits. It was a sunless abyss where men were left to languish, their lives measured by the slow drip of time. Yet even in this nadir, Joseph's character, refined by adversity, did not crumble. The Lord was with Joseph. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. Soon, just as in Potiphar's house, Joseph was entrusted with responsibility, managing the affairs of his fellow prisoners. He was a beacon of order and quiet strength in a realm of despair. It was here, in this unlikely setting, that his divine gift for interpreting dreams would once again surface, a fragile ember glowing in the darkness. Two of Pharaoh's own officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, found themselves inmates alongside Joseph. Each was troubled by a dream, their faces etched with the anxiety of uncertain futures. Joseph, perceiving their distress, did not offer false platitudes, but pointed them towards the true source of understanding. "Do not interpretations belong to God?" he asked. "Tell me your dreams." His interpretations, precise and divinely inspired, came to pass. The cupbearer was restored to his position, the baker executed. Joseph, seeing a glimmer of hope for his own release, made a simple human plea to the cupbearer. "Remember me when it is well with you, and show kindness to me. Make mention of me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this house." But human memory is often fleeting, especially when comfort replaces hardship. The cupbearer, restored to the splendor of Pharaoh's court, forgot Joseph. 2 more years. 2 full years Joseph languished, a forgotten man in a forgotten place. Imagine the weight of those days, the erosion of hope, the temptation to bitterness. This was not merely a test of patience. It was a profound trial of faith. Would he succumb to despair, or would he continue to trust in a divine plan whose contours were utterly hidden from him? This extended silence, this period of being utterly overlooked, was perhaps his deepest wilderness. Then, as if the very cosmos were orchestrating the next act, Pharaoh himself was plunged into turmoil. 2 disturbing dreams haunted his sleep. 7 fat cows devoured by 7 gaunt ones, and 7 plump ears of grain swallowed by 7 blighted ones. The royal magicians and wise men of Egypt, with all their arcane knowledge and vaunted wisdom, stood mute and powerless before the enigma. Pharaoh's distress mounted, for an unsettled ruler meant an unsettled kingdom. It was at this moment, when human wisdom had reached its limit, that the cupbearer's conscience was pricked. "I remember my faults today," he confessed to Pharaoh, recounting his imprisonment and the Hebrew slave who had accurately interpreted his dream and that of the baker. urgency now replaced indifference. Pharaoh commanded, "Bring him to me at once." Joseph was hastily brought from the dungeon. He shaved, changed his prison rags for courtly attire, and was ushered into the imposing presence of the most powerful man in the known world. Pharaoh, his brow furrowed with regal concern, addressed Joseph. "I have had a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it, but I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it." Observe Joseph's response. Here was his moment, a chance to impress, to claim power or insight. Instead, with profound humility and unwavering attribution, Joseph replied, "It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer." This was not false modesty, it was the bedrock of his being. His gift was not his own, but a channel for divine wisdom. Pharaoh recounted his dreams, and as Joseph listened, the Spirit of God illuminated their meaning. He declared that the two dreams were one. God was revealing to Pharaoh what he was about to do. 7 years of unprecedented abundance would sweep across Egypt, followed by 7 years of devastating famine, so severe it would erase all memory of the plenty. This was not just an interpretation, it was a prophecy of immense consequence. But Joseph did not stop there. The divine insight extended beyond interpretation to practical solution. He advised Pharaoh to seek out a discerning and wise man and set him over the land of Egypt. This man should appoint overseers to collect a fifth of the harvest during the plentiful years, storing it against the looming scarcity. This was not just dream reading, this was inspired statesmanship, a plan to save not only Egypt, but the surrounding nations from starvation. Pharaoh and his officials were astounded. The clarity of the interpretation, the wisdom of the proposed solution, it was undeniable. Pharaoh looked at Joseph, no longer seeing a Hebrew slave, but a vessel of divine wisdom. "Can we find anyone like this man?" Pharaoh declared to his court. "One in whom is the Spirit of God?" Turning to Joseph, he said, "Since God has shown you all this, there is none so discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only as regards the throne will I be greater than you." In an instant, the trajectory of Joseph's life was spectacularly, miraculously altered, from the chains of a prisoner to the insignia of the second most powerful man in Egypt. Pharaoh bestowed upon him his own signet ring, clothed him in fine linen, placed a gold chain around his neck, and had him ride in the second royal chariot. "See," Pharaoh proclaimed, "I have set you over all the land of Egypt." The name given to him by Pharaoh, Zaphanath-Paneah, perhaps meaning God speaks and he lives, or revealer of secrets, signified his new identity and role. He was also given Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, as his wife. The rejected slave, the forgotten prisoner, now stood as the prime minister of a global superpower, on the cusp of a crisis only he knew how to navigate. For 7 years, Joseph diligently executed his plan. He gathered grain in unimaginable quantities, like the sand of the sea, storing it in cities across Egypt. Then, as foretold, the famine struck, gripping not only Egypt but all the surrounding lands. When the cries of hunger reached Pharaoh, his instruction was simple. "Go to Joseph. What he says to you, do." Joseph opened the storehouses, selling grain first to the Egyptians and then to people from all nations who journeyed to Egypt, for the famine was severe everywhere. And then, one day, among those seeking sustenance, came a group of men from Canaan, 10 brothers, their faces etched with hardship and anxiety, bowed before this powerful Egyptian vizier, completely unaware that they were prostrating themselves before the very brother they had sold into slavery 2 decades prior. Joseph recognized them instantly, but they did not recognize him. The dreams of his youth, of sheaves and stars bowing down, were now stark reality. This was not a moment for gloating, but for a profound, divinely orchestrated test of character, for them and for him. Through a series of carefully orchestrated encounters, Joseph tested his brothers' hearts. Had they changed? Was there remorse for their past cruelty? His methods were unconventional, even harsh at times, causing them distress reminiscent of what they had inflicted upon him. He accused them of being spies, imprisoned them, demanded they bring their youngest brother Benjamin, Rachel's only other son, his full brother, to prove their honesty. This process, fraught with emotion, forced the brothers to confront their guilt. "Truly," they said to one another, "we are guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the distress of his soul when he begged us and we did not listen. That is why this distress has come upon us." The climax arrived when Judah, in a passionate plea, offered himself as a slave in Benjamin's place, rather than return to their father Jacob without his youngest, most beloved son. This self-sacrificial offer, so contrary to their earlier selfish betrayal of Joseph, was the proof Joseph needed. Overwhelmed, he could no longer restrain himself. Ordering all attendants out, he wept aloud and revealed his identity. "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" Terror, then astonishment, then dawning comprehension washed over the brothers. But Joseph's words were not of vengeance, but of breathtaking grace and profound theological insight. "Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here," he comforted them. "For God sent me before you to preserve life. So it was not you who sent me here, but God. He has made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house and ruler over all the land of Egypt." This declaration is the capstone of Joseph's story, a recognition of God's sovereign hand weaving purpose even through human sin and suffering. His years of trial had not embittered him, but had instead equipped him with a perspective that saw beyond personal injury to divine purpose. He orchestrated the relocation of his entire family to Egypt, providing for them in the fertile land of Goshen, saving the lineage through whom the future Messiah would come. Joseph's journey from the pit to Potiphar's house, from the prison to the palace, is far more than a rags to riches tale. It is a profound testament to the power of unwavering integrity, faithfulness in adversity, and the deep wisdom that comes from recognizing God's sovereignty over human affairs. He did not seek power, but power was entrusted to him because his character had been proven in the furnace of affliction. He did not succumb to the temptation of revenge, but chose the higher path of forgiveness and reconciliation, becoming an agent of salvation for his family and for nations. Unlike figures who grasped for power through manipulation or compromise, Joseph's authority flowed from his proven competence and divine favor. He demonstrated that true leadership is not about self-aggrandizement, but about stewardship and service. His life echoes the truth that God often uses periods of obscurity and trial to prepare individuals for extraordinary purposes. The prison cell, the forgotten years, were not detours, but essential parts of the divine curriculum that shaped him into the man who could save a generation. Thank you for journeying with us through this incredible account of Joseph's rise from the depths of despair to the heights of power. This narrative is not merely an ancient saga. It is a timeless exploration of resilience, the enigmatic workings of providence, and the transformative power of forgiveness. From the betrayal by his brothers to his ultimate vindication and role as a preserver of life, Joseph's experience reminds us that even in our darkest dungeons, a divine plan may be unfolding. His triumph was not simply circumstantial, it was forged in the crucible of character, maintained through integrity when no one was watching, and rooted in a profound trust in God's unseen hand. The choices he made, to remain faithful in slavery, to resist temptation, to use his gifts wisely in prison, and ultimately to forgive those who wronged him, illuminate a path for all who face injustice or feel forgotten. King Solomon, renowned for his God-given wisdom, built a magnificent temple and governed a prosperous kingdom. Joseph, through a different path of suffering and patience, embodied a practical, life-saving wisdom that not only governed but also healed and restored. His story is a powerful reminder that God can use even the most difficult circumstances to bring about incredible good, often in ways we cannot foresee. If you found this exploration of one of history's most dramatic reversals of fortune meaningful and wish to delve deeper into the narratives that shape our understanding of faith, resilience, and the human spirit, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us as we continue to journey through the incredible, the unforgettable, and the sacred stories that offer timeless wisdom and profound inspiration. Until next time, remember, the prisons of our lives, the moments of being forgotten or wronged, can become the very places where our character is refined, our faith deepened, and our unique purpose prepared for a greater unveiling. Stay tuned and be part of this incredible journey through time, spirit, and truth with us.